How to film and edit a guitar playthrough part 2, editing and multicam using DaVinci Resolve. So in the last tutorial, we went over the process of filming our guitar playthroughs, including camera settings, angles, lens, and lighting choices. Check it out right here if you haven't seen it. In today's tutorial, we'll go over editing our footage efficiently using a multicam in DaVinci Resolve 18. So let's dive right in. I have the studio version, which is paid, but there's a free version. The only difference is that there's a few key features missing, just certain like pro video features, and I think it limits you to 8-bit video instead of 10-bit. I shoot mostly 10-bit, so I'll have some things that I have to deal with instead of what you'll have to deal with, like my footage profile, which is called log. It's a flat profile. I'll have to put like a filter on it for it to look normal. Otherwise, it's pretty grayed out. I go through and I name everything, and then whatever I don't name is usually the bad takes, so I just know I can just highlight all these and just delete them because I won't be using them. So just make a new session in Resolve. You don't have to press any special buttons or anything. You just name your project whatever it is. I have how to play through, and here we go. So usually when you open it up, it'll bring you to this page, which is the cut page. I usually just go into this one right over here. It's called Media. Go there, and then the easiest way for me, I just go and I drag the footage I want to use in. Go on here, down here. Or if you start in the edit page, you can just drag it into this section. You can also, if you want, go through the effort of going in through here and choosing. I just find it quicker to just drag and drop. Let's go back into this media page here. And then next I'm gonna find the song. So here it is, boom. So now that we have the audio in DaVinci Resolve, we're gonna make a multicam clip. Basically, it's gonna take all 5 of these angles here, and it's gonna condense them onto one track, which we can just easily flip between different angles. Instead of having 5 different takes and having to disable each one that you're not using, it's way easier to just make a multicam clip. And this way, it all syncs up to the original song. Since we play to the original song, you can hear it in the background. It syncs to that, and then everything is exactly as it should be. Highlight, hold shift, I'll select all of these angle ones, and then I hold Control just to get weak DI. And then we're gonna right click and then go to create new multicam clip using selected clips. And I don't really change anything. I'll name this playthrough. And then the only important thing that you have to switch is instead of angle sync, we go into sound. And basically it's gonna go off the audio. So it's just syncing via sound versus something else. So create, bam. Like I was saying earlier, I will have issues if I don't have the entire song play through, or if I start a take and then mess up and then continue a new take on the same footage, then I'll get issues. That's why it's a little bit annoying, but every time I mess up or something, I will stop the play, I will stop recording on the camera and start a new one. That way it's always synced with the 4 or 8 clicks into the intro. Cool, so now we have playthrough right here. You can see it looks like this when it's a multicam. It's got multiple squares. So now we'll go into the edit page here. This is how I choose to edit. I know a lot of people do it differently. It's all good. And we can just drag it in here. And you can see this is the audio here. This is all of our footage. So I'm just gonna right click on the footage and then go to switch cam, go to angle 2. And you'll notice that the first one usually is black because there's no video to go with the song that we're referencing. So you can see this is what I was talking about, where it looks pretty grayed out. It's because I shoot in a log profile to get the most dynamic range. Dynamic range is basically the amount of stops between absolute darkness and absolute light. Complete black and complete white. So my camera has 14 stops when I use vlog, and I think 12 or 11 otherwise, so that's why I always shoot in log. It looks gray, but then I go into here, the original clips folder where it shows all of my untouched footage, and then I'll right click, and then since I'm using Panasonic, I'll go to LUT, which is lookup table, which is basically a filter. And then I go down to Panasonic, and it's Vlog to V709, which is your typical color workspace. And you can see it completely changed. And then if you ever want to undo that, you just go back, you just right click, go back down to LUT, L-U-T, and then go to no LUT selected. Put all of them on the Vlog. And now it should work that when I switch the angle, yeah, they all look good now. Computer performance when video editing. So a few things that we can do. Number 1, we can go up to Playback, go up to timeline proxy resolution and go down to half or quarter. This will go from, like, you can see it kind of degraded the quality. It'll go from like say 4K to 720 just while we're watching. And then when we export, it's fine. So there's that. And then let's see how it plays. You can see it all glitchy, but it's playing pretty smooth. Let's now open up the multicam and we'll see if we're going to get more glitchiness when we start seeing multiple cameras at once. So to open up the multicam view, we're going to click right here where it shows these two little windows, top right. And that brings up our second window here. And then down here, we're going to go multicam. And then now it'll show all of our angles. And this is very important. You want to make sure to click this right here because you don't want to, when you're changing the multicam selection, you don't want to also bring in the audio. This will bring in the audio and video. This will bring in just the audio. This will bring in just the video. And since we're syncing everything off of the audio that I exported, we're going to go just video because I don't want to mess with the audio. So now we have all of the footage up here. And when I press play, let's see how smooth it is, if smooth at all. It's already not smooth. Okay, so we already went to quarter resolution and it's still super laggy. So another thing we can do, we go into File, Project Settings, and then, oh, it's already set to 1920. Usually when you bring it in, it'll ask you if you want to change your frame rate and everything. I've already opened this session, so that's why it didn't ask me when I opened it. As soon as you bring this kind of footage or anything from here into your timeline here, you cannot change your frame rate. That's why when it prompts you, do you want to change your frame rate? I usually just hit yes because it's going to go to either 24 or 30p. And in this case, I recorded in 30 frames per second, so it goes to 30 frames and you see it's grayed out, so I can't change it. But usually it'll already have it set to 4K, which decreases playback ability just because it's calculating for all that footage. I had it switched to 1080 and it was still really laggy. And that's for a few reasons. One, we're looking at all the footage, so if I hide this, it should play a lot smoother. Still not smooth enough. It's smoother, but definitely not editable. So our next option, we want to right click, make sure that you highlight all of the footage again within the original clips. We're going to here where it shows all our master, original clips, and then highlight all of the ones that are within the multicam. We're going to right click, and then we're going to go to generate proxy media. And basically a proxy is like a very low resolution version of the video, and it's just so that we can watch it in real time when we're editing. And it definitely it'll look worse than it does right now. It'll look a little bit more pixelated, but when you go to export, you don't have to change anything. It'll just export the original settings, so the actual high res quality. It's just so that when we're editing, it plays through smoothly. So it'll take like 2 to 3 minutes on my computer at least. On yours it may take longer. If it's laggy, 100% do this because it's the only way you're going to be able to edit and watch your video without it just lagging the whole time. And now we wait. Okay, so now that we've generated proxies, it should be very smooth. Cool, so I'm curious if I go back to the timeline proxy, if I go full, to give you a little bit better quality. Definitely still pixelated, but watch this. If I unlink Proxy Media and then go full screen, you can see now it's not laggy. So it's not actually affecting the image quality at all. It's just showing us a low res version. So now I've unlinked it. If I just go right click and then down to relink Proxy Media, it'll bring me to whatever folder it is. On Windows, it goes to my videos, and then Proxy Media, and then it goes back down to where all of my videos are. And these are the ones that have proxies. So I select, and now you can see it's degraded the quality again. So we have a playable version. It does such a good job that I can watch all 5 of these at the same time while it's playing. If this stuff isn't showing, it will be right here. So you just click the media pool to hide all your videos so you don't have to look at them while they're already in. Just hit media pool, and then all these are the effects. You won't get a lot of them if you have the free version, but you just hit effects and you can easily bring all that stuff back. So now we can watch all of the angles in real time and see which one we like the most for which part. This is why we filmed 5 different shots so that they're all a different angle, and we can see if it's important to see what my right hand picking hand is doing, then I'll go to one like this or one like this, where you see more about that. Because from this angle, you can't see the notes. Now on this angle, you can see it a lot more, whereas we're blocking the pick. So that's why I get different angles all the time. So one way to change your clip throughout the timeline in real time, you can play play the video and then click on one of these and you'll see that it cuts it up over here. So check this out. So you can see it cut it up all down here, and now when we play it back, it's a little bit off, but you get the point. I now have my cues that I can easily go in and go say this one was too early. If this one was too early, I'll just go to this one over here. Make sure you see the angle going this way. And then, oh, so I have snapping on. So this will only let me go so often, or like snap to the grid or where a cut is. So to turn it off, I just click here, or I can press N. And then this way I can freely move it, not to grid or not to a specific location. And then to cut it otherwise, we just, on Windows, you can do Command B to cut. But if you're not clicked on anything, it'll cut everything. If I click on this one here and I press Command B, only the video gets cut. And again, if I don't press anything, if it's not clicked on any specific region, it'll cut everything. So we don't want that. The second way, now that we have it open, we just click on here. Oh, we don't even need this open. Check this out. We can close that, and then on your computer keyboard, we'll press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it'll go between those 6 angles. So check this out. I'll play, and then I'll be switching by pressing 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I accidentally did it there. It's that easy. So now we have all those cuts. Easy enough. So basically now I'm going to go through the entire song, choose the angles that I like, and then once I've got all the rhythm guitars done, I'll bring in all those little lead guitars and those little nuances that I did for close-up macro shots. Okay, cool. So now I have all the clips lined up. I've gone through the multicam and set whichever camera angle I want for whichever part. I'll give you a rough little visual. This is the multicam clip right here, and then at moments I have these macro shots. So let me give you a quick rundown of how I get those macro shots in. It's a little bit more time consuming and a little bit more annoying than just doing the multicam, because the multicam automatically sets it up. That's why we go to the effort of making sure we do it right. When I drag this in, I'm gonna put it roughly over here. Brings in a bunch of audio just because of the camera I'm using. So I'm gonna hold Alt. Alt will let you choose just one. It'll let you solo out something when things are linked. You can tell it's linked by here. If you click here, it'll be unlinked. We want to make sure this is linked at all times, just to avoid errors. To easily unlink it, yeah, hold Alt, click on whatever it is. I'm just going to keep one audio track, so I'll get rid of all of these. Delete. And if you press the delete key, it's different than the backspace. The delete key will move everything over that amount of time that you've selected, and if you just hit the backspace key, it'll just delete it. Little hacks. So it's the little tapping section in the song. So you can see I've done multiple takes of it. So you can see instead of doing a full take of the song and getting this angle I only went for macro specific sections like leads and little intricacies. This one I want to make sure that you can see every note I'm playing, and my whole ethics and thought process behind guitar playthroughs is that, say somebody wants to learn how to play the song, I want them to be able to learn the song by watching me do a playthrough. So I have to make sure that everything's on time and everything's accurate. So I've done multiple takes of this tapping thing because I want to get the best one, and I've got like probably 3 or 4 in here that are really good, but only one that is, in my opinion, the one to use. So let's say it's that one. And then we can either turn the volume up here so we can hear it better, or you can see it's right here for the selected clip. So I tried to get as close to the one, or as close to the kick drum there. So it looks like the kick drum's right here. You can see from the audio waveform there is a little spike. I'm assuming that's the kick drum. And you can also just scrub through your footage and see that looks like the first impact of my tap. So I'm gonna do Control B to break it, or you can go into here and just click. I don't like using that though. I'd rather use the selector, If you ever lose the selector and you're noticing that when you're moving stuff, it's actually moving time, it's probably because you're on trim, which is press T to get into there. And you'll see it moves it over completely. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to press V just to go to the normal selector. And then I'll keep a little bit of this just so I have like a reference, and you'll see why I'm doing that. I'm going to put it close. I know it's right there just because I've already put it in. And just so I don't mess with my existing edit, if you hold Shift and use your scroll wheel, it'll grow like that. If you hold Alt, maybe Command on Mac, I don't know, it'll scroll and grow like that. And if you hold Control, it will go sideways. So that's right there. Let's go right here, for instance. And I'm just gonna disable that one. So we can see there's the gap, and that's where the drums come back in. That's where the audio comes back in. So I'm just gonna line that up roughly like that. And this should be perfectly placed. And that's how I do that. So you can see I have quite a few places like that. I guess 3 others. That's this. This one here. And then this quick little. Just to show a different angle for those specific cool parts, in my opinion. I don't usually put those in a multicam because there's a lot of silence and I don't really need that. I will usually just put them on a separate clip. You can do it on a multicam as long as you make sure that you have the whole song recorded. I don't usually do that because sometimes I'll just loop a part and you can't really do the multicam thing if you're looping. So that concludes part 2 of this series. Thanks for watching. Now that we've edited our guitar playthrough, it's time to add a color grade and vibe. So to learn how to add a color grade and add a compelling look to our footage, check out this video right here. Thanks so much for watching. If you found any use in this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.